bonus or whatever for one that a no game ban but a grade A or something. I don't know. I'd go with that, even if it's not going to hurt people.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about that sort of stuff later on, though, about whether things hurt people or not, and whether that's what we should be basing our punishments on. St. David said,
Yeah.
a magnificent team performance. Saints smashed the Wolves for the full 80. Lomax, Coote, Roby used the platform to create plenty of chances, and we executed really well. That should quieten one lot of noisy neighbours for a few weeks. Now for the chavs next door. Onwards.
And Ron Hoof's been in touch. So he says, Lee Briers, Steve Price, Brian Brevin, Tone Coilov, John Roper, Graham Appo, Harry Bath, Paul Curran. Your boys took one hell of a beating.
Who's Harry Bath? I've never heard of Harry Bath.
No, I've no idea either, but they certainly took one hell of a beating. Although, to be fair, in the first 10 minutes, that it wasn't looking like that. It was looking pretty even from my perspective. First 10, kind of testing each other out, but actually, as the kind of first half went on, you felt that Saints were starting to roll on a little bit in terms of through the forwards. They were just getting slightly on top.
Do you think the sin binning came at the right time as well for that?
We mentioned it before, but I think it was crucial in terms of changing the way that the game was going. I think obviously it was very close at that point. And for me,
8-6 to Saints at that point. Yeah,
and I think, I've got to say, I thought, to me, I think Roby was quite crucial in a couple of these little points where I thought Saints were getting a little bit fancy with movement, and they were doing a lot of offloading, but it wasn't actually moving them forward particularly. And I was thinking particularly for the Percival try that Roby had, although he wasn't part of the movement that actually got over the line, he was crucial in terms of changing the way that the set was going. He as usual, he spotted the markers were slightly out of position, took the ball
Percival
forward.
try was the one where they went short side and there was the forward pass that no one's talked about, and then he scored. Is that that one?
That's that one, yeah.
No, really clever play, like you say, really clever play.
Yeah, no, and I think the yellow card was certainly strong punishment in terms of helping Saints get a roll on. As I said, the momentum that gave them was absolutely crucial. I think we need to talk about a little bit about Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook not claiming a try that he could have definitely claimed. The anti Ryan Atkins, as we might have to start calling him now.
Was this the one at the start of the second half where?
Where he almost gave himself up as he was going through after the ball, wasn't he? And it looked like he was heading out, and he very nearly got it down.
Yeah, like if it had gone up as a try, do you think they could have overturned it?
Or if it had gone up as a try, they'd have found a freeze frame which showed the hand in a rough approximate position that was near enough the ball from the right angle to show that it was a try.
Yeah.
If that goes up as a try, that's coming back down as a try.
I thought so. I see what you're
particularly
saying,
if he gets up celebrating. But yeah, we've already mentioned it. But the break from Grace was such high quality, absolutely best moment of the match for me. And he certainly,
isn't it?
It's acceleration and it changes the direction because he put Ratchford on his arse and Ratchford didn't even touch him when he was 1-on-1, which is not something you often see. And then as we said before, he made nothing of the late hit, which was distinctly to his credit. So this is the thing with him, isn't it? He has that in his game, and as you say, he's still a bit raw in many ways, isn't he?
In a weird way, especially because he's not a Wigan player and he's a Saints player. I wouldn't want to see that go out of him, to be honest. Do you remember with like Leslie Vinacolo? You always knew, no matter how good he was, there'd be moments in games where he'd lose you a try or two by
Oh yeah,
not picking up a ball
he always had a drop in
or
him.
not putting a shift in to cover the space in defence or something along those lines. And
Oh yeah.
And if anything, it kind of makes it more exciting when you've got players on the outside that can do it. I mean, Martin Afire, to be honest, could drop balls, but he would have scored 10 tries in the game by that point or something. It wouldn't have mattered. Like, Regan Grace is definitely a poor man's Martin Afire in that sense. Like, just absolutely ridiculous speed off the mark, evasion, silky running, but at the same time, not the greatest of hands. But this try was amazing, so I should stop talking about like the negatives when he does something so brilliant as this try. This was all the positives.
Oh yeah, it was all about this. I mean, just imagine if Tim had been on this week. My God, you wouldn't have talked about anything else. But no, it was quality and overall. I mean, in the end, Warrington were nowhere. I mean, after the week before, if you were to create a list of probably the 30 best players on the pitch, I don't think you'd put Blake Austin in the top 30. He was that anonymous. He didn't
Even though he scored a try.
Well, yeah. He was in the right place at the right time, but he did
I think it's when
absolutely nothing else.
The forwards were totally beaten up, weren't they? You know, David points to that, and they really were.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the uncompromising nature of the way that Saints carry the ball into collision at the moment. There's a lot of people who are going to need a lot of ice in the off-season on their bodies.
Well, it's just, as you said, it's unrelenting, isn't it? I mean, in the second half, you've got... Because Amor didn't come on till the second half, did he?
No. I don't know for sure, but I'm gonna agree with you.
Well, let's just say that for a fact. But yeah, I don't remember.
Who's gonna go back and check?
Who's gonna check it? We can just say what we want.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, to me, you know, they'd already, you know, Thompson and Walmsley had already beaten them up, and then you get, you know, as an interchange forward, you know, it doesn't get much better than that, really, does it? And this is the thing, you know, obviously they've kind of got that unbeaten monkey off the back. You know, there's a definite asterisk now against their unbeaten status. It's very hard to see teams kind of consistently getting up to beat them. It really is.
They've got the complete package at the moment.
They're annoyingly good.
And like, you look at the game they lost though, and what they were missing was the halfbacks. Danny Richardson playing his first game, Jack Wellsby being pretty much anonymous as a 6. It's not where he needs to be in the Super League starting lineup, is it? So that's the game they lost. Now they're so consistent in their team selection. It's just that's the only worry, isn't it? Really, if Lomax and Coote were out in the same game, or Lomax and Farge were out in the same game, or Coote and Roby were out in the same game, or something, some sort of combination of that spine, two were out in the same game, that's the only time you're going to sort of worry, is the forwards enough to win every game without that? But at the moment, it's hard to tip against them, innit?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. But this is the thing, they're already managing resources in terms of Roby's time, aren't they? So
I know, the proper O'Loughlin in him.
Yeah. proper ruining everybody's fantasy team.
Ah, well.
But yeah, no, I think you're right in terms of, but they do have some level of interchangeability with Farge around and stuff. So, and yeah, they're still looking like the team to beat.
They are.
Definitely.
Yeah. Right. Friday night's other game was over in Wakefield. I was there to watch. Wakefield beat Wigan 30 points to 20. It was 16 points to 4, but it could have been oh so different because it was 4-0 to Wigan with about 4 minutes left of that first half. 5,694 were there in attendance. Robert Hicks was the referee. This is another game where we had some missing players, so we don't have the team stats to go into, but individually, David Fafita, 1 try assist, 7 tackle busts, 168 metres and 4 successful offloads. I think that 1 try assist, the 7 tackle busts and half of those metres came on the same play. What a play. Everyone will have seen that play. Highlight moment of the game, let's just say that now, I suppose. Ryan Hampshire, 1 try assist, 8 tackle busts, 140 metres. Tinarawa Rona, 126 metres, and Paulie 127 metres. for the defeated Wigan. The same old names coming up. George Williams, 1 try, 1 try assist, 9 tackles, 166 metres, 2 clean breaks. Joe Burgess, 3 tries. That's 8 in 4 games since his comeback. And 8 in his last 3 played, actually. 3 tries, 10 tackles, 160 metres, 5 clean breaks. Ollie Gildart, 2 try assists, 6 tackles, 134 metres. And Dan Sargentson, 147 metres.
Yeah, so in terms of fan views, Tom Andrew says, we know one thing for sure, Wigan trained well.
Wakey White said, a tough, nervy encounter at Bellevue, the home of the big boppers. Trim were good value in the end after a flurry of tries just before half-time. Hooter did the damage. I hope the match review panel watched this one. It looked like Wigan were targeting knees and joints and caused 3 injuries. If so, I hope they get the book thrown at them. Sickening. We'll kind of come back to that because Mark's going to touch on it as well in his point, and I got a bit of a grilling from a couple of Wakefield fans, let's say, on social media as well, just because I didn't immediately say execute Joe Shorrocks like everyone else seemed to want to, but we'll get on to that.
We'll get on to that. Fat Boy Rob says, Dingles beat Druggies.
Yeah, he's got some new alliteration to work with. Mark Wilson at Willowtree88 said, a dominant 30 minutes, albeit pointless display by Wakefield, was punished by a Wigan try that triggered Wakey into action, culminating in an unbelievable Fafita break that ended in the 3rd try in just about as many minutes. 4 injuries throughout the game, caused by some shithouse tackling techniques, made the game a little tighter, and Wigan scored some decent tries against a patched-up side. A good 2 points, but at a cost. We're going to return to those injuries because both of those two people are factually incorrect about what caused the injuries. However, doesn't mean Wigan's tackling was all above board. Let's go with it now. I've got a semi-pre-prepared statement here. I've written some notes.
How long or short is it?
Longish. I've written some notes just because a few people were questioning things of me and assuming opinions that I don't hold were opinions that I did hold.
Before you get into
and some people will call me twat and stuff like that just because I didn't, like I say, want to hang out a young kid who played his first game out to dry and so. Anyway.
Okay, but before you start, just to say, I can't. The only thing I've seen is the little video that Fafita shared, which is taken from the porter cabin end, where there is sight of one tackle, which looks like the Wigan player comes in late around the legs.
Yes, totally.
So I haven't seen anything other than that. So I cannot comment either way.
Well, the sort of 2 main talking point tackles, I suppose, have both been dealt with, in inverted commas, by the match review panel. Sam Powell was the one that Chris Chester was keen for everyone to look at, the one that injured Reece Lynn. He's got a grade C charge and a 2-game ban. Joe Shorrock's got a grade A charge and no game ban for the one on Fafita. Now, Joe Shorrock's is a 19-year-old who was making his debut in this game. We'll talk a little bit about David Fafita's video editing skills in a little second. But firstly, the kind of a response, I guess, to the dirty tactics comment. Right, dangerous tackles, they should be taken out of the game. I think I've been incredibly consistent on this topic since the podcast started, and I've never changed my view on this just because they might be committed by a member of the team I support. Okay, so anyone who thinks otherwise either doesn't listen to the podcast properly, doesn't listen to my opinions properly, or just thinks all fans are as biased as they must be towards their own club's players. Because I find it actually offensive, Alan, for people to suggest that I don't remain very consistent on these things. I've called for Wigan players to get banned for things that the match review panel didn't even charge them for in the past. So, be real when you want to throw shade at me for my opinions that you assume I've got is what I would say there. However, to suggest that this was some sort of long-standing tactic by the Wigan club, I just think it's completely unreasonable to say that, and coming from some sort of position of deep inbuilt hostility and bias, because if it is some long-held Wigan tactic to target and injure opponents' knees, then we are worse at that than they are at winning games this year. I see a lot more of our games than Wakefield fans or fans of any other side see of Wigan. I honestly do. And I'm not seeing these tackles all the time. And I'm certainly not seeing players getting injured in the tackle week in, week out, which is what you would expect to do if this was a deliberately targeted tactic of the team. So let's be a little bit realistic on those opinions. You know, if you want to call me out on what you think my opinions are, be a bit more realistic in your own, I think is what I would ask for, because I feel like I am honest and realistic in my opinions.